program, everyone. I'm Christiana Manpour in London. Israel is conducting yet another wave of strikes across Iran and Lebanon, while the U.S. says its heaviest attacks are still to come. Here's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
I stand before you today with one unmistakable message about Operation Epic Fury. America is winning, decisively, devastatingly, and without mercy.
Chilling, but 5 days in, the Trump administration is trying to project a clear and unified message after failing quite spectacularly to answer basic questions about the mission, including its objective, justification, day-after plan, and exit strategy. It's been called a war of choice by many since there was no imminent Iranian threat, according to experts and analysts. It was launched without approval from Congress and with most Americans opposed, according to polls. Tehran, meantime, is widening the scope of its retaliation, and every hour, U.S. allies in the region are at greater risk of being drawn in. Earlier, NATO ally Turkey reported that the NATO air defense systems shot down an Iranian missile that was headed for its airspace. Inside Iran, civilians are paying the highest price. More than 1,000 people have been killed, according to a U.S.-based human rights group. That includes 168 children killed in a strike on a girls' elementary school in the opening salvos. This video shows the lines of graves where they have now been buried. Israel and the United States say they are investigating this incident. The Democratic Senator Chris Murphy is on the Foreign Relations Committee, and he was amongst a group of senators, the whole chamber, briefed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday evening. He joined me earlier from Capitol Hill, just ahead of the Senate vote on whether to authorize this war. Senator Murphy, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can I just ask you, because there has been, I think, an attempt to have a different kind of unified messaging, a unified rationale. Certainly from the Pentagon, we heard Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth say, America is winning decisively, devastatingly, and without mercy. What is your understanding of the progress of this war on Iran?
Well, first of all, I have no idea why we entered this war, because Donald Trump has one story and Marco Rubio has another story. Rubio says we got dragged into the war by Israel. He's effectively said that this was a defensive action because we worried there was going to be an attack on the United States. Donald Trump says, no, in fact, we dragged Israel into this war. They have lots of different goals. They seem to be targeting the nuclear program, the missile program. Trump seems to be talking pretty regularly about regime change, cheerleading the Iranian people to come out into the streets. It's really unclear to me, even after having sat in the briefing yesterday, why we entered the war and what the goals are. It looks as if it's pretty open-ended, that we may be at war with Iran, bombing Iran for months, if not the better part of this year. This is about as incoherent, incompetent, and confusing a rollout of military action overseas as I've ever seen.
Can I